What if I told you there's an investment made over 1,400 years ago that is still generating returns today? Not in theory, not as a metaphor, literally still paying out, right now in a bank account in Saudi Arabia. One man made this investment. He wasn't looking for profit, he was solving a crisis, and by accident he created something economists still don't have a name for. This is the story of Uthman ibn Affan, and the best investment ever made. Uthman ibn Affan was already wealthy before Islam, a successful cloth merchant in Makkah from a powerful clan, known for his business sense and his generosity even as a young man. But when he accepted Islam, he faced the same fate as many early Muslims: pressure, persecution, and eventually migration. Twice, in fact, once to Abyssinia and later to Medina. Unlike some companions who arrived with nothing, Uthman managed to preserve and rebuild significant wealth through trade. He had a rare combination: elite business skill and a level of generosity that consistently surprised people who knew how much money actually moved through his hands. He didn't hoard. Every crisis in the early Muslim community, Uthman seemed to show up with the solution and his wallet. Shortly after the migration to Medina, a serious problem emerged: clean water. The city's main source of fresh water was a well called Bir Ruma, Ruma's well, and it was privately owned by a man from a Jewish tribe who charged the Muslim community high prices for every bucket drawn from it. People were suffering. Water is not a luxury, it's survival. Families were paying more and more just to drink. The Prophet, peace be upon him, addressed the community directly. He said essentially, "Whoever purchases the well of Ruma and dedicates it for the free use of the Muslims will have paradise. Not a loan, not a business deal, a permanent, irreversible act of charity with no expected return." Uthman went straight to the well's owner. He offered to buy it outright. The owner refused. The well was extremely profitable and he had no interest in selling his income stream. So Uthman came back with a different offer, and this is the part worth pausing on because it's genuinely clever deal structuring. He proposed buying just half the well. One day of access would belong to Uthman, free for the public. The next day would remain the owner's to sell water as usual. The owner agreed. It seemed reasonable. He'd still get paid every other day. Except here's what happened next. On Uthman's free day, everyone rushed to fill every container they owned. Enough water to last 2 days. Nobody wanted to pay the following day when they could just stock up for free. Within a very short time, the owner's paying customers vanished. His half of the well was now worthless to him, and so he came back to Uthman and sold him the remaining half. At that point, essentially forced by market reality, not just goodwill. Uthman ibn Affan now owned the entire well. Total cost, variously reported around 20,000 to 35,000 dirhams, an enormous sum at the time. And then he did the only thing that made this whole story matter. He permanently dedicated the well in full to the public, forever, for anyone, free. Here's where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Buruma is still there today, near Medina. And here's the part that sounds like fiction but is documented fact. The Saudi government, recognizing the well as an ongoing Islamic endowment, a Waqf, eventually developed the land around it, planted date palm orchards irrigated by the well, and the produce is sold. The profits from that produce are still, to this day, deposited in a bank account under the name Uthman ibn Affan. The returns are used to fund charitable projects, including for a period supporting orphanages and needy families, all traced back to a well purchased in the 7th century. Let that sit for a second. A single investment made with a specific structure, permanent, undividable, dedicated to public benefit, has been generating value for over 1,400 years. No stock, no company, no empire in human history has a return timeline like that. This is what Islamic finance calls Waqf, an endowment. And it works because of one specific design choice: it's locked. It can never be sold, inherited, or liquidated. It can only ever produce benefit. That permanence is exactly what makes it outlast kings, currencies, and empires. What would Uthman ibn Affan teach you about wealth in 2026? Lesson 1. The best assets are the ones that can't be taken back. Most investments can be sold, spent, or lost. A structure designed to be permanent, locked from ever being liquidated, is what allows genuinely long-term compounding. Build at least one asset in your life you can never impulsively cash out. Lesson 2. Solve real problems and value follows. Uthman didn't chase a trend. He solved a basic urgent need, water, for people who had no alternative. Problems that real people feel every day are still the most reliable source of lasting value. Lesson 3. Structure the deal. Don't just make the offer. His first offer was refused. Instead of walking away, he restructured it, the half-and-half arrangement, until the outcome he wanted became inevitable. Good negotiators design situations, not just prices. Lesson 4. Public value can outcompete private ownership. The moment free water existed even part-time, the paid model collapsed on its own. Understanding how people actually behave is worth more than any contract clause. Lesson 5. Give in a way that outlives you. Uthman didn't just donate money once. He engineered a system that would keep producing benefit for centuries long after he was gone. That is the actual definition of legacy wealth, not what you leave behind, but what keeps working after you're not there to manage it. Uthman ibn Affan didn't just buy a well. He designed an asset that has now outlived 14 centuries of empires, currencies, and kings, and it's still paying out today. If this story taught you something, subscribe. See you in the next one.